In the summer of 1863, America stood dangerously divided. The Civil War had consumed towns, families, and futures across the nation. Both Union and Confederate armies searched desperately for a decisive victory. That search would lead them to a quiet Pennsylvania town. Its name was Gettysburg, unremarkable, peaceful, and completely unprepared. General Robert E. Lee believed the war could be ended quickly. A bold invasion of northern soil might break Union morale entirely. Lee's Confederate Army of Northern Virginia marched confidently northward. They sought supplies, glory, and a crushing psychological blow. Meanwhile, the Union Army of the Potomac followed cautiously behind. Recently appointed General George Meade assumed command under immense pressure. He knew one mistake could doom the Union cause forever. On July 1, 1863, the first shots rang out. Confederate scouts encountered Union cavalry west of Gettysburg unexpectedly. What began as a skirmish rapidly escalated into full-scale combat. Union forces fought stubbornly, but were pushed through the town. They regrouped on high ground south of Gettysburg strategically. This position formed a defensive fishhook-shaped line across ridges. Cemetery Hill, Cemetery Ridge, and Culp's Hill became vital ground. Whoever controlled these heights could control the entire battlefield. Lee believed aggression would secure victory despite unfavorable terrain. He ordered continued assaults instead of maneuvering around Union positions. This decision would haunt Confederate forces for generations. On July 2nd, the battle erupted with terrifying intensity. Lee launched coordinated attacks on both Union flanks simultaneously. The fighting became some of the bloodiest of the entire war. At Little Round Top, Union soldiers faced overwhelming Confederate pressure. Colonel Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain commanded the 20th Maine Regiment. Outnumbered and nearly out of ammunition, retreat seemed inevitable. Chamberlain made a desperate, brilliant decision under relentless fire. He ordered a bayonet charge down the rocky hillside. The sudden assault shocked Confederate attackers into chaotic retreat. Little Round Top was saved by courage and quick thinking. That single stand preserved the Union defensive line completely. Elsewhere, brutal fighting consumed Devil's Den and the wheat field. Men fought hand-to-hand among rocks, smoke, and blood. Entire regiments vanished within minutes under relentless artillery fire. Despite ferocious Confederate assault, Union lines held firm everywhere. Lee refused to accept the reality before him. On July 3rd, Lee gambled everything on one final attack. He believed a concentrated strike could shatter the Union center. The plan became known as Pickett's Charge. Nearly 12,000 Confederate soldiers assembled silently in formation. They emerged from the tree line into open farmland. Union artillery immediately began tearing massive holes through advancing ranks. Men marched forward under exploding shells and rifle fire. Entire units collapsed, yet survivors continued advancing relentlessly. Flags fell, were raised again, then fell once more. Only a fraction reached the stone wall at Cemetery Ridge. Hand-to-hand combat erupted briefly and violently. The Union line bent, but never truly broke. Within minutes, the assault collapsed completely. Survivors retreated, leaving thousands dead or wounded behind. The Confederate Army had suffered a catastrophic defeat. Lee accepted responsibility, telling his men the failure was his. The Army of Northern Virginia would never recover fully. The Battle of Gettysburg was over after 3 days. More than 50,000 soldiers were killed, wounded, or missing. It became the bloodiest battle ever fought on American soil. Strategically, Gettysburg marked a decisive turning point. The Confederacy lost its last real chance at victory. Union forces seized momentum that would never be relinquished. Months later, President Abraham Lincoln returned to Gettysburg. He delivered a brief speech redefining the war's purpose. The Gettysburg Address transformed sacrifice into national meaning. Gettysburg became more than a battlefield. It became a symbol of unity, sacrifice, and national resolve. A reminder that freedom demands an unbearable price. Today, the fields remain quiet, preserved, and solemn. But echoes of cannon fire still haunt the rolling hills. Gettysburg stands as America's most defining war legend.